Kicking off the countdown to better studio sound, today we're diving into the best speakers for music production that can elevate your mixes. If you crave crystal detail, accurate imaging, and punchy low end that translates from your room to the world, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to be going over the best speakers for music production that you can get right now. All of the products mentioned are linked in the description, so check them out if you're interested in any of them. With that, let's begin. At number 5, we have the Edifier R1280T. The Edifier R1280T is a compact, desk-friendly pair of powered bookshelf speakers that punch well above their size, making them a compelling option for home studios and bedroom productions where space and budget matter. These speakers pack a surprisingly full sound with a warm, forgiving character that helps mask imperfect room acoustics while you dial in tracks, loops, and rough mixes. Dual 4-inch woofers deliver a surprisingly solid low end for their class, rolling in strong enough for electronic beats, hip-hop bass lines, and even some light band recordings without feeling woofy or bloated. The Silk Dome tweeters, while not ultra-crisp hi-fi heroes, deliver clean, smooth detail that translates well on smaller monitors when you're listening for balance, not extreme high-frequency sparkle. This is not a flat reference monitor. It's a musical instrument in its own right, designed to be listened to for long sessions, and that matters when you're mixing on a tight hourly schedule. The R1280T uses a classic wood veneer cabinet that reduces harsh resonances and adds a touch of warmth that many producers describe as musically forgiving. With 42 watts of total power, it can handle moderate volumes without strain, which is perfect for late-night sessions or apartments where you can't push a pair of near-field monitors too hard. The inputs are straightforward and reliable. 2 RCA line inputs let you switch between sources, think your laptop and a field recorder, without swapping cables constantly. You'll find bass and treble tone controls on the side panel, allowing a bit of contouring to adapt to room quirks or personal taste. And a small, functional remote enhances usability when you're mid-session and reach for the volume from your chair. The build is sturdy, with a sealed, well-damped enclosure that keeps the sound tight and reduces cabinet buzz at higher levels, which can be a problem with smaller budget speakers. In practical terms, the Edifier R1280T is superb for rough mixes, reference checks, and casual listening. You can rely on its musical coherence as a baseline for your track programs, then move to a more precise reference system later for critical mastering. In terms of drawbacks, you should know it isn't a studio-grade reference monitor. If you need absolute neutrality for mastering or intricate stereo imaging, you'll want to step up to a purpose-built near-field pair, paired to the PreSonus Eris 3.5, which I have included as number 4 on this list. The Edifier's larger woofer and warmer tone provide more room-filling bass and a more forgiving high-end, but you lose some of the tight, clinical imaging that the Eris 3.5 offers for precise EQ decisions and mono compatibility. Overall, the Edifier R1280T is a reliable, budget-friendly option that delivers musicality, consistent volume handling, and a straightforward workflow for creative producers who want to hear their ideas clearly without breaking the bank. At number 4, we have the PreSonus Eris 3.5. The PreSonus Eris 3.5 is a compact, purpose-built near-field monitor pair that hits above its weight with a balanced, transparent sound profile that studios developers often reserve for instinctive focus on critical listening. 3.5 in the name denotes the woofer size, a practical 3.5-inch driver that can reproduce the fundamental bands of most dancefloor-ready basslines and vocal bodies without pushing a heavy, room-filling bass that dilutes vocal texture. Coaxial arrangement in the Eris family favors a clean imaging across the stereo field. You'll hear precise left-right placement even in small rooms, which is essential when you're layering synths, guitars, and percussion in a mix. Midrange is articulate, not harsh. The tweeter is smooth, offering a crisp top end that helps you hear sibilance in vocals and brightness in hi-hat lines without becoming fatiguing after long sessions. The Eris 3.5 includes simple, effective acoustic tuning features, a limited bass notch, and a high-frequency output tilt control to tailor response to your room's reflections. This allows you to compensate for a wall-bound listening position, so you get predictable results when you're checking a mix for mono compatibility or translation to consumer monitors. The build quality is robust for a budget monitor. The enclosure is riff-resistant, and the overall footprint remains compact for desk setups, allowing you to place them near the laptop without crowding essential peripherals. The input options are flexible, balanced 1/4-inch TRS or unbalanced RCA inputs on each speaker, and a shared volume control that makes quick adjustments painless during a mix session. The Eris 3.5 is particularly strong for guitar and vocal-centric projects, where you want to hear the timbre of an instrument without the coloration that sometimes plagues less refined monitors. In terms of limitations, the bass extension is naturally modest given the small woofer, which means you may want to pair it with a sub if you're producing heavy sub-bass or cinematic scoring with deep rumble. Compared to the Mackie CR3.5, which I have included as number 3 on this list, the Eris 3.5 yields a more neutral, broader sweet spot and less of a pronounced color. The Mackie CR3.5 may feel a touch punchier in the mid-bass, but the Eris cleaner high-end helps with high-frequency detail in busy mixes. At number 3, we have the Mackie CR3.5. The Mackie CR3.5 is a self-contained, compact studio monitor that's built to be a durable, affordable option for home studios and classroom setups where space is at a premium. 3.5-inch woofer paired with a 0.75-inch tweeter or close to that ratio gives you a fairly balanced frequency response that translates well for everyday music production tasks, from arranging and layering to rough mixing and monitoring cadence for smaller projects. The cabinet is compact but not flimsy. The front baffle is designed to minimize diffraction and to keep midrange solid while the bass region remains responsive without becoming flabby. You'll find the CR3.5 used widely in PC-based studios and portable workstations where a preset, plug-and-play approach helps you get to work quickly. The front panel volume control is a handy feature. In some models, there is also a headphone output for silent practice or late-night edits, which is extremely useful when you don't want to wake a partner or roommate. The CR3.5 is known for its straightforward signal path and forgiving tonal balance, which makes it a friendly option for beginners who want to hear the makeup of a mix clearly without chasing exotic tonal shifts. The drivers handle transients with a decent sense of speed, which helps when you're editing drums, percussion, or transient-rich synth lines. On the downside, its compact footprint means the bass is best interpreted as tight and controlled rather than deep and boomy. If you're mixing bass-heavy electronic music or low and heavy film cues, you'll want to rely on a larger system or add a sub. In comparison to the PreSonus Eris 3.5, which I have listed as number 4, the Mackie CR3.5 can feel more immediate in the low end, with a slightly more forward presence in the upper mids, which some listeners interpret as more engaging for guitar and vocal references. But the Eris 3.5 offers a steadier, more neutral reference when you're making nuanced EQ decisions and balancing complex harmonic content. At number 2, we have the PreSonus Eris 3.5BT. The Eris 3.5BT represents a modern step-up for near-field monitoring with built-in wireless streaming, letting you feed tracks from a laptop, phone, or tablet without extra cables cluttering your desk. This Bluetooth-enabled variant combines the familiar Eris voicing with a flexible input architecture. You still get the classic RCA and 1/4-inch TRS options for wired sources, but now you can browse playlists, import rough ideas, and audition reference tracks from your mobile device directly through the monitors. 3.5-inch woofer and 1-inch silk dome tweeter deliver a balanced, clear sound with generous vertical headroom, so your looped percussion and dense synth layers don't smear when the mix gets busy. Simple front panel layout keeps level control intuitive, and the headphone jack offers a quick, private check when you want to compare a sub-mix with a solo instrument. The Eris 3.5BT also includes the same room tuning features you expect from the Eris line. The acoustic space control helps you adapt to a small room by adjusting the bass emphasis, while a high-frequency tilt control provides a gentle, tastefully bright or rolled-off top end depending on your environment. For those who value workflow, the Bluetooth input is a plus. You can audition demos, reference tracks, and client-provided stems on the fly, which speeds up revision cycles without cluttering your workspace with extra adapters. In terms of potential caveats, Bluetooth can introduce a small latency with certain devices, which is fine for critical listening, but worth noting if you're triggering software in real time or syncing with video. Compared to the OHAYO computer speakers, which I have included as number 1 on this list, the Eris 3.5BT offers substantially more control, wider dynamic range, and a more precise image. But the OHAYO's ultra-compact, plug-and-play nature makes it ideal for quick sketches, casual listening, and school projects with a tight budget. At number 1, we have the OHAYO computer speakers. The OHAYO computer speakers are an ultra-accessible, desk-friendly choice for anyone starting out in music production, video work, or podcasting who wants to hear their ideas without the complexity of a full studio setup. These compact speakers emphasize convenience and immediacy. They're often powered directly from a USB-C or small wall adapter, with straightforward plug-and-play operation that makes them ideal for a new setup, a dorm, or a portable desk arrangement. The drivers inside the OHAYO pair typically emphasize clear mids and a light touch in the bass region, which is perfect for vocal editing, MIDI programming, and early rough mixes where you're more concerned with tonal balance than deep bass accuracy. The form factor is small, which helps you keep your workstation tidy, and the front-facing controls give you quick access to volume and sometimes basic tone adjustments, making them forgiving if you haven't finished your acoustic treatment yet. The OHAYO monitors shine when you're building ideas quickly, evaluating spacing between virtual instruments and checking for harsh sibilants in vocals in a way that doesn't break the bank. This is the kind of setup you buy to kick off a project, knowing you can graduate to a larger, more neutral reference pair later on as your room improves. The upstream resolution you'll hear through these speakers is sufficient for creative exploration, but you'll notice a limited low-end response compared to larger two-way designs, which is perfectly acceptable for capturing ideas, rough drafts, and on-the-go editing in the same studio space. A production workflow that leans on fast turnarounds and decision-making. The OHAYO's ease of use and compact footprint are hard to beat. Paired to the Edifier R1280T, which I have included as number 5 on this list, the OHAYO speakers offer a smaller footprint and simpler plug-and-play performance. But the R1280T wins on warmth, dynamic range, and bass extension, making it a better baseline for longer listening sessions and more musical mixing tasks.